For 3 years, every single penny mattered. Every grocery trip meant calculator math and coupons. Every bill meant choosing what to pay late. My husband, Mark, swore we were one bad month away from losing everything. Then I found the bank statement that proved our bankruptcy was a lie, and the truth was worse than being poor. It was betrayal wrapped in family obligation. I am Sarah, 32 years old, and until last month I thought I knew my husband. Mark is 34, works in accounting, and for the past 3 years has painted a picture of financial disaster that controlled every aspect of our lives. We sold my car because we couldn't afford 2 payments. We canceled our anniversary trip to save money. I wore the same 3 work outfits on rotation because new clothes were a luxury we couldn't afford. Every purchase over $20 required a discussion. Every restaurant meal was off limits. Mark would sit at our kitchen table with his head in his hands, calculator out, telling me we had to cut more corners. The stress lines on his face seemed permanent. I felt guilty buying name-brand cereal. His sister, Chloe, always seemed to be doing fine, though. She worked part-time at a boutique, no real career, but lived in a 2-bedroom apartment downtown. She had new clothes every time I saw her. She posted vacation photos on social media. When I mentioned this to Mark once, wondering how she managed it all, he got defensive. He said, she's my sister Sarah. Family has to help family out, even when we have nothing. She's probably maxing out credit cards. Don't judge her for trying to keep up appearances. It was a Tuesday morning when everything changed. Mark left for work in his usual rush, briefcase half open, coffee traveling mug in hand. A white envelope fell from his bag onto the hallway floor. I picked it up to put it back, but the return address caught my eye. First National Trust. We didn't bank there. Our accounts were with the local credit union, the one with no fees because we couldn't afford them. Curiosity won. I opened it. The letterhead was official. The account was in Mark's name only. The balance showed $47,000. My legs went weak. I sat down right there on the hallway floor, scanning the transaction list. My eyes stopped on a recurring payment. $3,000 every single month. Same date, same amount. The recipient name made my blood run cold. Chloe Morrison. The memo line was consistent too. Monthly rent. 3 years. The payments went back 3 years. 36 payments of $3,000. $108,000. While I was mixing water into orange juice to make it last longer, while I was telling my mother we couldn't visit because gas was too expensive, while I was crying in the bathroom at work because everyone else could afford lunch and I had peanut butter sandwiches, my husband was paying his sister's rent with money he swore we didn't have. Every sacrifice crashed through my memory like a slideshow of humiliation. The time our refrigerator broke and we lived out of a cooler for 2 weeks because Mark said we couldn't afford the repair. The birthday where Mark gave me a handwritten coupon book for back rubs because presents weren't in the budget. The wedding we missed because we couldn't afford a gift. The promotion I turned down because it required clothes I couldn't buy. All of it was unnecessary. All of it was a lie. I didn't confront him. Not yet. If 3 years taught me anything, it was patience. I waited until he left the next morning, then searched his home office. The locked drawer, he said, held tax documents, opened easily with a hairpin. Inside was a folder labeled Personal. More statements. More truth. The rent was just the beginning. There were car payments for Chloe's BMW, credit card payments for her shopping sprees. A $5,000 transfer marked Cabo vacation. Another marked spa weekend. She wasn't maxing out credit cards. She was maxing out my husband. The rage that built in my chest was cold and calculated. I made copies of everything, every statement, every transfer, every lie, documented in black and white. Then I made an appointment with the best divorce lawyer in town. The consultation fee would have sent Mark into a panic about our budget. I paid it with satisfaction. The lawyer's name was Patricia Chen, and she smiled like a shark when I showed her the evidence. She said, "This is marital asset fraud. That money was half yours. Every dollar he gave his sister was stolen from you." She explained how the court would see it, how the secret account would be frozen, how I could claim not just half of what remained, but damages for what was spent. She said, You're going to be just fine, Sarah. Better than fine. I planned carefully. One last family dinner. I called Chloe myself, playing the devoted sister-in-law. I said, I know things have been tough for us financially, but I want to try to bring some joy into our lives. Would you come for dinner Sunday? Nothing fancy, just family. She agreed immediately, probably hoping for free food. I called Mark next. I said, I invited your sister for dinner Sunday. I thought it would be nice to have family around. Maybe it will help with the stress. He sounded relieved, grateful even. He said, That's sweet of you, Sarah. I know things have been hard. Sunday arrived. I made pot roast, Mark's favorite. Mashed potatoes from scratch, green beans with almonds, even a pie for dessert. Chloe showed up in a designer dress I recognized from her Instagram. She complained about parking, about traffic, about her stressful week shopping for furniture. Mark poured wine I'd bought with cash from the grocery money. We sat at our scratch dining table, the one we'd had since college because we couldn't afford to replace it. I let them talk. Chloe discussed her plans to redecorate. Mark listened attentively, occasionally glancing at me with worry when she mentioned costs. 20 minutes into dinner, I set down my fork. I think I found a solution to our money problems, Mark, I said. I placed the first bank statement on the table between them. The $47,000 balance faced up. Mark's face drained of color so fast I thought he might faint. Chloe looked confused, then saw her name on the transaction list. Sarah, you don't understand, Mark started. I placed the second statement down, then the third, then the fourth. I laid them out like tarot cards predicting their future. Mark's hands shook. You don't understand, he said again. She needed me. She's family. Chloe found her voice. She said, He's my brother. He's supposed to provide for me. It's not my fault you're so cheap you couldn't make him happy. Maybe if you weren't so boring, he wouldn't have to find meaning in helping his real family. I smiled. The kind of smile that doesn't reach your eyes. You're right, I said. He should provide for his family. Which is why my lawyer was so happy to see these. Every dollar he sent you from our marital assets is documented. The court sees it as theft. Mark stood up so fast his chair fell over. He said, Sarah, please, let me explain. The account is already frozen, I said. Legal proceedings start Monday. The lawyer says I'll get back every penny you stole, plus damages, plus alimony based on your real income, not the poverty you've been pretending. Chloe's designer bag fell from her lap. She said, You can't do this. I have rent due next week. I hope you've saved up, I said, because your rent isn't getting paid next month, or any month after that. Mark reached for my hand. I pulled away. He said, Sarah, we can work this out. I love you. You can move in with your sister, I said. You two clearly deserve each other. I filed for divorce yesterday. You'll be served tomorrow at your office. I thought you should hear it from me first, with family present. I stood up and walked to the door. I turned back to see them, sitting in shock. Chloe's face red with rage, Mark's pale with devastation. Enjoy the pie, I said. It's the last thing I'll ever make for either of you. The divorce was final. 6 months later, the court awarded me the entire hidden account balance, plus 70% of all other assets as compensation for the fraud. Mark had to sell his car to pay the settlement. Chloe was evicted after 2 months of non-payment. She posts bitter comments on social media now between shifts at the coffee shop where she works minimum wage. She can't afford the boutique lifestyle anymore. Mark moved back with his parents. Last I heard, he was still paying off the lawyer fees. He sends emails sometimes, long apologies about how he was trying to be a good brother, how he never meant to hurt me, how he sees now that he was wrong. I delete them unread. His parents called once, begging me to forgive him, saying he made a mistake. I told them their son made 36 monthly mistakes, each one $3,000, and hung up. I bought a house. Not huge, but mine. Every room decorated exactly how I want. I have a new car, reliable and paid in full. I take vacations now, real ones where I stay in hotels and eat at restaurants without checking prices first. I sleep in sheets that aren't threadbare. I buy name brand cereal. I live the life I worked for, the life that was stolen from me $3,000 at a time. Sometimes I think about those 3 years of unnecessary poverty, the humiliation of counting coins for gas, the shame of declining invitations I couldn't afford, the weight of constant financial fear, the anxiety attacks in grocery stores when the total was higher than expected, the tears I hid from Mark because I didn't want to stress him more about money that never existed as a problem. Then I think about Chloe serving coffee to people who don't tip, living in a studio apartment with roommates, wearing the same uniform every day. I think about Mark explaining to dates why he lives with his parents, why his credit is ruined, why his ex-wife took everything. I think about the $47,000 that now sits in my investment account, growing every month. The revenge doesn't taste bitter. It tastes like freedom. It tastes like justice. It tastes like the expensive wine I can now afford to drink whenever I want, in my own home, bought with my own money, finally living my own life. The kind of life where family doesn't mean letting someone rob you blind while you suffer in silence. The kind of life where betrayal has consequences. The kind of life I deserved all along. They played family games with my money. They lost. I won. And I sleep perfectly at night knowing that every struggle they face now is one they created themselves. Family helps family, Mark always said. He was right. His family helped themselves to everything I had. Now they can help each other figure out how to survive without me. They can help each other pay rent. They can help each other buy groceries. They can help each other with all the things they forced me to sacrifice while they lived in comfort on my suffering. The best part is knowing they still blame me for their downfall. Not him for stealing, not her for taking, me for discovering the truth and demanding justice. That's how I know they haven't learned anything. That's how I know they deserve exactly what they got. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. My mother asked me once if I felt bad about what happened to them. I told her the truth. The only thing I feel bad about is that it took me 3 years to find that bank statement. 3 years of unnecessary suffering. 3 years of being made to feel like a burden for basic needs. 3 years of Mark choosing his sister's comfort over his wife's dignity. 3 years too long. Now, when I see couples arguing about money in public, when I hear friends complain about your financial stress, I want to tell them to check for hidden accounts, check for secret transfers, check for family members who seem to live above their means, because the person making you feel guilty about spending $5 on coffee might be sending thousands to someone else with money they claim doesn't exist. Chloe tried to contact me last month. She left a voicemail saying she was sorry, that she didn't know Mark was lying to me about being broke, that she thought he could afford it. The lie was so obvious, I almost laughed. She knew. Every month when that rent payment hit her account, she knew. Every shopping spree, every vacation, every car payment, she knew it came from somewhere. She just didn't care as long as it kept coming. Mark's mother sent a letter saying, I destroyed her family. I sent one back with copies of all the bank statements. I highlighted every payment to Chloe, every vacation, every shopping spree funded while I rationed shampoo. I wrote one line at the bottom. Your son destroyed his own family $3,000 at a time. She never wrote again. The house is quiet now. No arguments about money. No stress about bills. No guilt about buying groceries. Just peace. Just the life I earned through my own work, my own sacrifices, finally belonging to me. Every morning, I wake up in my own bed, in my own house, and make coffee with the expensive beans I can afford now. I drink it slowly, savoring not just the taste, but the freedom of buying it without fear, without guilt, without someone else's sister being secretly prioritized over my basic needs. Sometimes people ask if I'm dating again. The answer is no. Not yet. Maybe someday. But right now, I'm enjoying having my financial life be truly mine. Every dollar earned, every dollar saved, every dollar spent, all mine. No hidden accounts, no secret payments, no family members with their hands in my pocket while I count pennies. Just me, my money, and the sweet satisfaction of knowing that everyone who betrayed me is living with the consequences of their choices. Mark and Chloe thought they were so clever. 3 years of perfect deception. 3 years of me believing we were poor while they played their game. But they forgot something important. The truth always comes out. And when it does, the person who is betrayed gets to decide what happens next. They chose to lie. I chose justice. They chose each other. I chose myself. And looking at where we all ended up, I'd say I made the better choice.